back in 1988 to enhance the ministry of the Carmelite Sisters for the aged and the infirm. The mission is to provide high-quality, affordable education programs related to the care of the elderly. Looking around the room here, maybe this is the right target for most of them, not all of them. They provide educational programs, seminars, workshops, publications, information, etc., etc. Sister Peter Lillian has been the director of the Institute since 1997. It's the educational arm of the Carmelite Sisters for the Aged and the Infirm. The Institute creates opportunities for individuals to share experiences and knowledge regarding their work with the aged and contributes to the field of gerontology, did I pronounce that right? Through the workshops and publications of the studies. Sister has been in the continuing care ministry for 30 years, often working in many of the administrative capacities. She's lectured many times on Alzheimer's disease, palliative care, geriatric spiritual care, family care issues, stress reduction, and team building. Sister Peter has developed successful programs and has lectured throughout the United States and Ireland, and has worked with many of the congregations to this. You know, what we really need to know is, and what the theme of our breakfast is today, is end-of-life issues, taking care of the elderly, and also protecting them from legislation that wants to treat them based on usefulness rather than on their value and worth. So I'd like to introduce Sister. Sister, would you please come?
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Alan, and thank you for that introduction. It really is a great privilege to be here with each of you. I know you can give this talk much better than I. I know that so many of you are fighting for life every day, and I am so grateful that you actually are here with me and wanting to listen to me speak. I am a Carmelite sister, as Alan has said, and we are from Germantown, New York. Actually, we're in Claremont, New York. Claremont is so small, we use Germantown's post office. And how many of you go to the Dutchess County Fair? Great fair, isn't it? Well, you know, up at the Dutchess County Fair, they have this wonderful ride. And it's one of those ones you go on the plane, and it just takes you, and it loops and it dupes, and it does all kinds of crazy things. Well, there was this couple one time, and they went every year to that county fair, and they kept saying, we need to get on that ride. But it costs $50. So the wife would say to the husband, it's, you know, $50. And he'd say, well, come on. And she just drummed that into him, but it's $50. And she said, you know, $50 is $50. So 10 years later, every year, the same story. The pilot said, I've had it with you. I'll tell you what, you can get on this plane, and if you don't scream or yell, I'm not going to charge you the $50. So the wife looked at the husband and said, I'm game, you are. Get on the plane. They go for the ride of their life. He took them, he did circles, he did figure eights, he went up straight and down and everything. And he lands. And he gets down and he says to the pilot, says to the husband, you know, I'm really shocked. I didn't hear a peep out of any of you, either one of you. There was no screams or yelling. Everybody's always screaming and yelling. How did you do it? And he said, well, let me tell you. He said, I thought about saying something when my wife fell out of the plane. But $50. It's not a true story. She's alive and well, hopefully somewhere in Germantown. But the reason I tell you that story is, think about it. Pro-life isn't just pro-life. Pro-life is a way of life. It truly is a way of life. And for me, when I think of pro-life, I think of the word pro and life P being the prayer. The prayer that we do because of the passion that we believe in and respect life. The R for respecting all life in all its stages. The O, that we help people to see opportunities and options, and these options are life-giving options in every type of situation. And L for the love which is the greatest gift that we can give, one another and the people we serve. But of course, I is for that inspiration that each of you are. That we try to inspire others to change their heart so that they can change their mind. So that when legislation is being written and legislation is being discussed, that we can inspire them to see what is truly respecting life. Because we are faithful to Jesus. Jesus and his ministry of being there for all people. Men and women, adults, children. He was there for all people, no matter what walk of life they may have been. And lastly, E for the example that you are. We don't really always do things by the words that we preach, but it's by our example, as St. Francis has told us. It's not so much in the words, but it's by our example. So thank you for being here. Thank you for respecting life from conception to its natural end. I know respect for life comes from knowing that life is a gift from God. It truly is a gift. It's precious. And we have many challenges these days, and I don't have to go through all those challenges with you. You know what's happening to us on all spectrum of life. I'm here today to talk to you about this part that I am most concerned about, because it comes for what we do as Carmelite sisters. We have 20 long-term care facilities throughout the United States. We care for the elderly. And the sisters that are with me can tell all their own stories. But I can tell you, I've been by the bedside of hundreds of people who have died, many times dying in my arms, comfortably, compassionately. And basically what I am really scared about and nervous about is the assisted suicide legislation. The assisted suicide legislation I have here, 24 states, I'm talking 24 states, who are looking at some type of legislation. Death with Dignity Act, assisted suicide. We're on the other end. And think about what we have ahead of us, all that we need to do. You know, I think you know that Oregon was the first state that has assisted suicide. We have 5 more states that follow. But think about Oregon. What they have to do every year is, I believe since 1997, they have to give a report on the statistics as what's happening in assisted suicide. And basically, the Oregon Public Health Division is required by the Oregon Death with Dignity Act to collect information on compliance and to issue a manual and a report annually. I pulled up their 2013 report on 2013. This is interesting. As in previous years, the 3 most frequently mentioned end-of-life concerns are loss of autonomy. 93% of those who chose assisted suicide, 93% of them felt it was a loss of autonomy. They also said decreasing ability to participate in activities that make life enjoyable. That was 88.7%, and loss of dignity was the 3rd highest, 73.2%. Notice in those 3, did anybody hear me say pain? No. Interesting. Pain is not on the highest. I mean, it's there. I'm sure it's there maybe in the top 10. So what is that saying about us who respect life? It is saying to us that we have to take a look at and see, why do people see assisted suicide as an option in this day? Pain doesn't, pain is up there. But it's this loss of autonomy, the loss of dignity, the loss of not being able to make my own choices. I truly believe, that the way we can help counteract this movement is to have a better understanding of palliative care. What is palliative care, and what does that mean? We as Carmelite sisters have done palliative care since our inception, which was 1929. We walk comfortably, we accompany people, because palliative care is there to provide relief from the 5 pains that people experience when there's a debilitating disease. Palliative care is not reserved for those who are imminently dying. Palliative care allows each person to receive the appropriate treatment that brings him or her comfort and the best possible care that we possibly can give them. Palliative care can be combined with curative care or with less aggressive care. And we as Carmelite sisters know that in order for us to do it well, we need to understand people and the pain that they come to us with. Palliative care and hospice care are not the same. All hospice care is palliative care, but all palliative care is not hospice care. It's a matter of timing. Our own wonderful Pope Francis just spoke on this in March. He talked about palliative care, and he talked about it as, and I quote, "Palliative care is an expression of the properly human attitude of taking care of one another, especially of those who suffer." And he goes on to say, "For this reason, when life becomes very fragile and the end of earthly existence approaches, we feel the responsibility to assist and accompany the person in the best way." Our own Pope Francis, he gets it. He understands what palliative care is. We understand what it is. Does everybody else know what it is? Our church has a wonderful document, and I notice it's over there as well, and that's the Ethical and Religious Directives for Catholic Healthcare Services. And in this document, we find guidance throughout, because we have a lot of moral and ethical decision makings we have to make, especially for those who are working in healthcare. And on page 25, if any of you have picked it up, and on page 25, I love this sentence. It says, "One of the primary purposes of medicine in caring for the dying is the relief of pain and suffering caused by it. Effective management of pain in all its forms is critical in appropriate care of the dying." The French philosopher Simone Weil said, "The extreme greatness of Christianity lies in the fact that it does not seek a supernatural remedy for suffering, but a supernatural use of it." Every human being experiences pain at least once in their life. And along with that pain comes suffering. We experience pain through physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and familial pain. Pain occurs in the body, and it's described by its intensity. Suffering, on the other hand, takes place in the soul, a place so intimate that no words can help us understand how it actually feels.